He's really smart, then he's also a great speaker. Like when we're on stage, giving speeches, influencing others, or leading people, he can take really complicated issues and through his speeches, make them sound so simple and natural, and he can express them so clearly. That's one of 𝐷𝐷 talents. So when it comes to human resources, interpersonal relationships, sales, public relations, or any kind of communication work, even doing business is a form of communication, right? In these areas, 𝐷𝐷 is especially well suited. But sometimes with all that energy, 𝐷𝐷 might struggle to figure out how to make a decision. Especially when it comes to important matters, 𝐷𝐷 can become indecisive and waver between choices. Often, his stance may not be that firm. So, what do we need to do at this point? We need to give 𝐷𝐷 some energy. That's why we say what 𝐷𝐷 needs to develop is determination. Because 𝐷𝐷 tends to adapt to many things, you have to understand that he doesn't want to create any conflict. Isn't that right? A lot of the time. We call this being accommodating and easygoing. You're right. But then it seems like both sides make sense. So often when it comes to balancing these things in what we call interpersonal relationships, he ends up wasting a lot of time just making decisions. So is it right or wrong? Should I help this person or not help that person? Should I decide to do it or not do it? Many times, 𝐷𝐷, because of his indecisiveness, ends up missing out on a lot of opportunities. So what should we do? We hope that all of 𝐷𝐷's friends can develop a strong and determined heart. So how do we cultivate a determined heart? We start with small things and gradually let ourselves achieve some results. For example, we can start with ordering food. Starting tomorrow, when we eat and look at the menu, we can give ourselves a bit of training. What exactly do I want to eat? Can we make a quick and firm decision and then not do anything indecisive or regretful afterwards? So, starting from ordering food, we begin to train ourselves to make decisions so that next time when we face other small matters, each time, little by little, we can use these small decisions to gradually build up our determination. This way, we don't need to avoid or back away when problems arise. When something comes up, we can just close our eyes, trust ourselves, and make a decision. All right? Okay, we'll support you. All right then, let's see how Fifi is doing. Fifi's friends, let's type Fifi on the screen. Yes, that's right. It's you. For Fifi, the most important thing is speed. He's the fastest at getting things done and opening up the market. He's also the quickest to bring something new, right? He likes things that others haven't done yet, but he's already managed to do. He really loves a challenge, doesn't he? That's right. So when it comes to efficiency, especially in sales, Fifi is the most suitable. And if we're talking about outdoor work or even jobs that require mobility and moving around, they're even more fitting for Fifi. For example, things like social media, content creation, marketing, or even sales promotion. Event planning, right? These are very creative, and when it comes to new and cutting-edge technology, those are also very suitable for Fifi. Plus, when it comes to opening up new markets, of course, we hope Fifi can be the first to participate because he's faster than anyone else at making decisions, right? He's also very willing to challenge himself. Remember, don't take on boring work or force yourself to do repetitive, monotonous tasks for long periods of time. That's just not a good fit. We need something new, with fresh elements and new challenges. That's where Fifi really excels. Now, in terms of mindset, speed is important. We need to be fast. But sometimes when we say everything has to be fast, does that mean it's easy to make mistakes? We call it making mistakes in the rush, or errors that happen when we're moving too quickly. This is something we really need to pay attention to. So for Fifi, he needs to cultivate patience because he tends to be too fast. There's a saying in Cantonese, a fast knife cuts the hand, meaning if you move too quickly, you might hurt yourself. Because when you're too fast, right, sometimes if you're not careful, you can really get hurt, can't you? When you're moving too quickly, the chances of making mistakes increase. You might spot a lot of opportunities, but at the same time, the chances of making errors are also much higher. So you really need to be careful. Sometimes being too hasty isn't a good thing. If we can learn to when it's time to be fast, you can be fast, Fifi, and at the same time, when there are many important things to handle, you're able to pause for a moment and take a deep breath. Have a bit of patience, listen to others' opinions, and then only after that we take action. This way, we move to another level. Fifi will go from being smart to being able to calm down and gain wisdom, right? That's really important. That's right. So now he's starting to learn how to calm his mind and observe the core of the problem, and then how to make arrangements for the next step instead of just blindly rushing forward without thinking. So when we talk about taking action, right? Then, as a result, Fifi will achieve outcomes. Remember, under certain circumstances, if Fifi can train his inner self to come out, then Fifi will really be incredible. All right? Good. Let's take a look at Mumu together. Are there any friends of Mumu here? That's right, let's type Mumu on the screen. If you have kids at home, or your friends, your boyfriend or girlfriend is a Mumu, you can also let me know. Mumu is very special because he is an energy companion who loves learning the most. Isn't that right? Because he is the most well-behaved and orderly one, and he pays attention to every detail in everything. Logical planning, right? So you notice that even when you were young, you could feel it. Hey, that's true. I especially like things to be tidy. And what else? When it comes to tasks that require using my hands, my work is always organized and orderly. This is a characteristic of Mumu. So, the personality traits of Mumu also make them really enjoy doing planning-related work, such as administration or operations, right? We're talking about things like market strategy analysis, or taking very complex problems and figuring out how to simplify them, making plans or summarizing everything together. Wow, that's impressive, isn't it? When it comes to the work of a valued advisor, we say that in a company or even as a boss, you need a lot of data and a lot of market strategy analysis. With Mumu, you can confidently entrust these tasks to them because they are experts in this area. For example, they really love learning and are very knowledgeable and talented. So, whether it's in education, culture, or quality management, they are especially meticulous. Alright, let's take a look at Mumu's strengths in terms of mindset. We know that they are always constantly learning in everything they do. You need to understand the reason why. It's because they feel they're not good enough, because they feel like they don't know things thoroughly enough. That's why they keep searching for answers, right? They keep looking for answers over and over again because they hope to do even better. This is a profound thought that comes from deep within his soul. So, we can clearly understand that since Mumu thinks in this specific way, it truly seems like he often has many deep doubts about himself and his own abilities. Right? It's like he doesn't really believe that he's already enough. Is it that he still feels he's not enough? In a way, is he unconsciously doubting himself? And is he putting a lot of pressure on himself because of this? Let's take a look. So what exactly does Mumu need to regain its self-confidence? When a person loses their self-confidence, or when they constantly question their own judgment, even after doing a lot of research and gathering plenty of data, they still feel it's not enough. At that point, they start to doubt themselves. This is when they become especially withdrawn. We say that they like to keep to themselves and don't want to talk to others, and they're also afraid. They're worried that others will notice their lack of confidence. So at this point, what happens? Suddenly, you'll notice that their work, which used to be well organized and planned, suddenly becomes chaotic, as if they're completely helpless and trapping themselves. This is what happens with Mumu. That's why we really hope that Mumu's friends, when you encounter this situation, when you have doubts about yourself, there's no need to worry. Just quietly listen to one of our energy boosting songs, then just calm down and have a cup of tea, right? We can be in a peaceful environment and also find some positive friends, communicate with them more, and even use iBommie to do so. The more we understand ourselves, the more we realize that actually we're not lacking in so many things. But you know what? We need to understand that as long as things are generally okay, you can go ahead. There's nothing in this world that will ever be 100% or 120% ready. So you don't need to worry so much. If it's basically right, then it's right. Let's not waste time nitpicking anymore. What we hope is that every time we move forward, we can tell yourself, I am the best. I, Mumu, have already done very well.